Hello, my name's James. I'm a portrait photographer from Portsmouth in the UK. You've probably not heard of me. Welcome to this latest portrait of a wrestler video. Looking at Photoshop again this week, but we're looking at Photoshop with regards to a location portrait, and we're doing a little bit of a deep dive again, trying to marry up what we tried to achieve in camera with what we're trying to achieve in Photoshop to create a perfect image. Again, going back to what we said in the previous video, Photoshop is a tool that should be used to improve your photography, not something that can save bad photography, if that makes sense. So you're trying to get everything right in camera as much as humanly possible. The image that we've got here is one of the ones that was shortlisted but not used in Zoe Lucas's 2020 calendar that we produced for her. The link for that is here and in the bio down here. If you want to purchase Zoe's calendar, you can do. We wanted to do a Star Wars themed shoot with Zoe, and here's the image. We took her to a beach near me that has like quite high cliff faces, and it's quite secluded as well. And the cliff faces are this nice sort of browny, sort of sandy colour to sort of mirror Jakku or Tatooine or one of those numerous desert planets that they have in the Star Wars series.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating.
I'm lucky enough to be in possession of this, which is a genuine Force FX lightsaber, a replica from Empire Strikes Back, the one where Luke fights Darth Vader.
You'll find I'm full of surprises.
And it's a really, really cool thing, and I just thought it gives it a little bit more authenticity than just buying a toy from Toys R Us. So we thought we'd dress Zoe up to look like Rey, we take her to a beach with cliff faces that look like Tatooine, and then try some analog effects in the background. What I mean by analog effects is actually trying some in-camera artistry, trying in camera to get the effects that we kind of want. And I just wanted to make everything look like explosions and things going off in the background, just give it a little bit of detail in the background between our subject and the cliff face. As you can see here, we've set up a tripod in the background. Quite a windy day here, so that tripod had to be set apart with some rocks to sort of weigh it down. And that tripod just goes up and behind Zoe here, and on the top of this tripod is a firework that's going off, and that firework, which is a safe distance away from Zoe, is shooting off all of these sparks that you can see all sort of around, all around here, into the distance. It's quite a wide aperture that we're shooting this image on, I think around about f4. So with the distance and the long lens that we're using, those fireworks have sort of gone out of focus and produced this lovely bokeh effect, which is really nice. So if you ever hear anyone going on about bokeh, that's what they mean. They mean something that's of a highlight in the distance that's got a funny shape. There's a more technical definition of that, I'm sure, but that's essentially what they go on about, and it's very fashionable, and it has been for the last sort of 4 to 5 years to get bokeh in your images. But this is what I'm looking at. This is straight out of camera. This is what we captured on the day. Zoe's face turned towards the sun here. So we're getting good light across the face, good almost Rembrandt lighting. It's a little high at noon, so we've got a little bit of darkness over the eye here, which I'm going to look at. We've unfortunately kept the tripod in the background, which we're going to try and get rid of, and we're going to look at the rest of the image to see how we can improve it. So let's go for it now. We're going to start off first of all with this little blob back here and this little blob down here. They're just a little bit too dark, taking my eye away from the subject. So again, just going over those with our spot healing brush. Looking at the crop, I kind of want to work with the rule of thirds a little bit more here. So we're just going to tidy up our crop in just a little bit here. So that Zoe, and you can see with my grid, I've got like a rule of thirds grid on my crop tool. This point here is the point we want to try and focus the interest on in this picture. The interest in this picture, in this instance, is Zoe's face. So we're going to bring that round and open it up just a little bit so that that is going somewhere around Zoe's face there, which is great. Bring the crop in, although we're going to lose some of that bokeh at the top, that's fine, because it's going to help with the dynamism of the crop. Let's just have a look at that there. That's a much tidier, much more dynamic crop now. Let's get rid of this tripod first of all, because that's annoying me. I'm going to use the clone tool on this instance, grab some of Zoe's arm here by pressing Alt, and that'll be our reference point to then just take out these elements here, and then just a straight line down by using the Shift key to get rid of that. Now we've still got a few little lines here where it's not quite perfect, so we're just going to use our patch tool just to go around those and just to blend that texture in just a little bit easier. And there you go, tripod's gone. So that distraction is now gone, yet we still have the analog effects of the firework going off in the background. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to create a new layer here, and on that layer we're going to grab our brush tool, bring that brush size down just so it's just wider than our lightsaber blade. There we go. And I'm going to give it a little bit of a soft edge as well, just around about 86% on the hardness there. There we go. So I'm going to click on the new layer above. I'm going to click a spot there in white. Hold the shift key and go all the way to just beyond the end of the lightsaber there. There we go. That's our lightsaber blade. Admittedly, it doesn't look like much of a blade at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to double click. That will bring up this little panel here. We go to outer glow, which is there. And we're going to set the tone of the outer glow to the nice blue that we see there, because she's a goodie, not a baddie. Blue lightsaber. The glow on that's a little bit prominent, so I'm just going to bring the spread down a little bit, but I'm also going to bring down the size there. Spread on 24%. This is going to change depending on the resolution of your image. So you're just going to do it until it sort of feels right and looks right, really. Hit OK. Let's have a look at how that looks big. Cool. And then I'm going to go across the whole thing and go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and just give the whole thing about 4 pixels of blur. Yeah, OK. The blue's a little bit too harsh on that one, so I'm just going to come back in here and just bring it, there we go, out into the white a little bit there on my outer glow. That's better. Now I'm going to go nice and close in here and just to reduce the opacity of that top layer so I can see where the hilt is and where I need to just erase around the hilt so I can see the hilt nice and clear at the end. Just a little bit of attention to detail, but it just gives that area there a little bit more believability that that's actually where it's sort of coming out from the hilt. It's only a tiny little change, but it makes all the difference. Go on to our layer below. We'll still keep that layer above with the lightsaber so that we can amend it at any point if we wish to, take it out, but that's it there, there, without. It's quite a bright sunny day, so the reflection of what would be the light coming out of the lightsaber probably isn't having that much of effect on the skin or the clothes or anything like that, so we don't need to lighten anything up too much around Zoe's face. We're just going to go in nice and close here, get our dodge tool up, stick it on highlights, just so we can start to try and just pick out some of the highlights in Zoe's eyes here, the catch lights there, just to give them, there we go, just give them a little bit of a lift. Now switch it to midtones and just do the whole eye here and here so they're both even. And now just go around this darker edge here around Zoe's eye where it's just gone a little bit darker than the other one. Just lighten that up. Grab our clone tool, reduce the opacity down just a little bit to around about 40%. Pick a nice light bit of skin here and just dust around. Actually, go a little bit lower than that. Go down to about 21% and just dust around the lower part of the eye just to bring that back into skin tone that's more universal. Do the same on this side just here. Perfect. Little dodge tool around the lips just to bring those out. That's lovely. There we go. It's only microscopic little changes that we're making, but it's just little attention to detail. We go back, that's the eyes previous to the working, and that's how they look now. So previous, and that's how they look now. Just a little bit of lightening across the whole thing. Grab our burn tool. Keeping on the dodge tool, moving it back into highlights. Keeping on the dodge tool, just a little bit of a play across the hair. A little bit of a play here in the fabric, which she's wearing, just to make that stand out a little bit. Try not to go into whites too much. This little bit of costume here, where the cuffs are just sort of like, you can see where the join is, where the Velcro is almost, just this white line. Just gonna get a spot healing brush and just tidy up around there, just so they look a little bit, less, I guess. Just so they look a little nicer and neater, really, more than anything else. And a bit more believable and less costumey, if that makes less fancy dress, more cosplay, yeah? That's what we kind of want, really. That's lovely, that's perfect. Bring our levels up. Levels come down again. Bringing the shadows into shadow, bringing the highlights just above highlight. And now we want to really make something of the fireworks going off in the background. Just very simply a little brush across them. The only other thing is the smoke coming off of the firework. I kind of like sparks rather than smoke. If we grab our clone tool, go to the sparks there, reduce our opacity down to less than 50%, looking at around about 40 here. I'm just going to see how this looks with a really soft brush. If we can just brush over some of the fire here. There we go. There we go, that's nice. Just to give us a little bit more detail in these areas here and a bit more of an effect there. That's great. Levels and curves. Nice contrasty look there to the photo. Beautiful, that's enough. Don't want to go overboard. Great. This little line down here, just where it's just started to go into black here, is just a little bit distracting for me. So I'm just going to get rid of that. There we go. Blend those tones in nicely and just lose this one here. Bring that into there. There we go. One minor change that I would make at this point is I would just look at the hands. Hands are really, really super important in photos in terms of the way that they're posed. You're always trying to show off the narrow side of the hand. You're always trying to show off the fact that people have 4 fingers and 1 thumb. In this instance, it kind of looks like 3 fingers. These fingers up here are fine, but this one down here is sort of protruding out, which kind of looks a little awkward and a little odd. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to grab my clone tool again. I'm going to grab a little bit here, a little bit of the background there. Get a slightly harder brush and just start to go over so that it gives the illusion that that hand is quite neatly placed with the fingers up there like that. So we haven't just got that loose little finger there, if that makes sense. It's just kind of like a more, although there are 4 fingers there, you can only really see 1. If you've got one little one just down there, it just kind of looks a little bit distracting, a little bit sort of, it just catches the eye a little bit, I suppose. With that gaping hole there, now what we can do is we can grab that part of the hand there, copy V, Control T, bring it down. Cool. Start to erase around here. There we go. Move it up. Lose the edge. There we go. Just lose the edge just a little bit there. And because we'll be viewing it from a distance, our eye won't immediately be drawn to it, but it looks more like a, there we go, it looks more like a natural hand now coming out. And it's just really a lesson in attention to detail and just looking at your images again and just seeing what little bits you can take out, what little bits you can put in, but ultimately working from a place where your image was captured in camera properly first. So you measured the light, you worked out the focal length, you worked out your location, you told your subject what you wanted from them in terms of posing and in terms of the way that you wanted them to hold the props in session. You propped them properly in terms of like what the style of the shoot was going to look like, so they came with the right clothes and they were ready for an outdoor shoot. All of these little things go towards making a great image. It's not literally just a case of turning up on a beach and doing it and expecting, oh, I've got a great model and I've got a great camera, it's going to be brilliant. You have to scout these things out and have an idea about what you're shooting for and what you're going for. If you like this video, then you can subscribe. At the bottom, you can follow me on the Instagram and the Twitter at Y2JimBob. If you'd like a t-shirt like this or like other t-shirts, you can visit wetheindependent.com/shop and join the movement there and follow us at WeTheIndie, i.e. because we're indie, not indie. Check out our podcast on there. You can also get Zoe's calendar from portraitofawrestler.com/store. The link is in the bio below. Until next time, all the very best.